What's going on, everybody? Bronco Juggalo here, and today I'm coming at you with my 5 guilty pleasure films, and this is in response to the Last Shoegazers contest that he is having, celebrating his 100 subs. Congratulations, buddy. You deserve it. You got a great channel, and if anybody out there hasn't seen his channel, go over there right now and subscribe. I will put his channel up at the end of the video with a link. So, what he asked us to do on this subject is show 5 guilty pleasure films that most people wouldn't think we have, or that we might have been embarrassed to even buy, or just, something of that vein, the guilty pleasure vein. I personally don't have a guilty pleasure vein. I'm not afraid or ashamed of anything that I watch, but anyways, I really have no guilty pleasures, but I do have some movies that people would, I guess, classify as guilty pleasure, or people that know me probably wouldn't know that I was into. That don't know me extremely well, that just, you look at me and you say, oh, that guy's this, that guy's that. Especially seeing as how I'm a juggalo, people wouldn't expect me to be into these films. So I'm going to get on with it and just let you guys know what's going on here, okay? So, coming in at number 1, and I'm also going to do something a little different than I usually do. I'm going to show you films I actually have in my collection. With the exception of one, I don't have a copy of it anymore, and that is because my kids destroyed it, and I need to buy a new copy. So, anyways, coming in at number 1, we have Notting Hill. This is a movie that I absolutely love. I absolutely adore this film. My mother was huge into this movie when it came out. And I was young. I don't know how old, 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there when this movie came out. And I watched it with her quite a few times. And the humor in it and the acting and everything in it just is amazing. I absolutely love this movie. If you haven't seen this movie, you should definitely go out and check it out. There is a dude in this movie. He plays the roommate of, what's his name again? Yeah, Hugh Grant. Is the roommate of Hugh Grant is absolutely hilarious. There is some great moments with him. There's a moment where he is trying to pick out a t-shirt for a date, and he brings down all these t-shirts, and his roommate keeps rejecting them. And then he brings down one, and it says, "You're the most beautiful woman in the world." And Hugh Grant's like, "Oh yeah, that's perfect." And then he turns around and goes back up the stairs, and on the back of the shirt it says, "Fancy a fuck." By the way, this movie's based in England. But if you haven't seen this movie, and whether you like romantic comedies or just comedies in general, go out and check this movie out. This movie's really funny. The next film I want to show you is Steel Magnolias. Are you starting to see a trend here? This movie, just like Notting Hill, also stars Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts, I believe, I'm not sure anymore, but was my mother's favorite actress. So this movie I grew up with. This is a movie from the 80s that is absolutely amazing. This movie is so funny. No, don't get the remake that they did with Queen Latifah. That's bullshit. The original is the best. Julia Roberts, Julia Roberts, Sally Field, Dolly Parton, Shirley MacLaine. I mean, the names in this of legendary actresses are just amazing and through the roof. The talent level in this film is through the roof. The comedy in this film is through the roof. It's absolutely amazing. It's about 6 Southern women that are totally different from each other, but all have come together to form a friendship bond. And yes, I know how sappy that sounds, but I absolutely love it. So if you don't like it, too bad. And yes, Julia Roberts, by the way, is my favorite actress of all time. I love just about everything she's in for the most part. Going all the way back to Pretty Woman. I mean, I love Julia Roberts. She's an amazing actress. I have a love for talent, and that woman is talent. Pure and simple talent. So, another guilty pleasure of mine is something that I've been into since college, actually, is when I got into this film. I actually play the drunken father in this film in a play I did in college. No, I'm not some Shakespearean actor or anything like that. For some reason, I always got typecasted as a drunk in all the plays we did. I don't know why. But my third film that I'm going to show you is My Fair Lady. This is a classic film from the 1960s. This stars Audrey Hepburn, and Audrey Hepburn is also one of my favorite actresses of all time. She's right in there with Julia Roberts, right behind her, actually. I love Audrey Hepburn. I love just about all of her films, Breakfast at Tiffany's, everything. But My Fair Lady is a movie that I never saw until college because when I got the part of her drunken father, I wanted to go research it. So I went and watched it. This movie is so bleeding funny. I love it when they're at the races and everybody's acting all prim and proper. And she's supposed to be being taught to be this prim and proper lady, but she's actually just this street urchin. I know that's a really weird word, isn't it? Urchin. Anyways, she was a street girl who is not very mannered. She is not ladylike. But she's impressing everybody with how ladylike she is. And then as she gets into the race and the horses are running, she's like, come on, come on, come on. And then she screams, "Move your bleeding ass!" It's just absolutely hilarious to me. I die every time. And like I said, the drunken dad scenes, you can't beat it. This is a great, hysterical, awesome classic of a film. Love this movie so much. The fourth film I'm going to show you is actually probably my favorite film from early childhood. When I was a very small child, I would love things like He-Man. I loved, that sword and sorcery bit. I loved knights and shields and dragons and all the imagination things. So it was very easy for me to gravitate towards this film. And it's one that I've owned in every incarnation, all the way up through Blu-ray. I'm going to show you my DVD copy, because the Blu-ray copy is right now out with my kids being watched. So I'm going to show you the DVD copy I have. This is a 2-disc special edition, Diamond Edition from Disney. This is the 50th anniversary edition. I'm sorry, this is not the Diamond Edition. This is 50th anniversary edition. But I absolutely love this movie, and this is Sleeping Beauty. Now, everybody's probably thinking, damn, this guy's kind of into chick flicks. What the fuck? But I'm sorry, once again, classic animation at its best. People can talk all the shit they want to about Disney for whatever reason, or about the things they supposedly put into their films, which they do. But let me tell you something here that you might not know about the animation process. Old school animators especially, because animation back in the day was not like it is now, where they just click a couple buttons and it's done. I'm sorry, but that's why I'm not as huge into the Pixar stuff as everybody else is. That's bullshit to me. It doesn't take a lot of talent to do that, in my opinion. This was real animation. But sometimes they'd have hundreds of artists working on these movies that were drawing the same thing over and over and over again with just minute little differences, because of the fact that what they did is they shot it frame by frame, piece by piece, and then they sped it up real fast, flip through like a flip book basically, and made the animation. Animators would get bored. You see it in Disney films. You see it in old Looney Tunes stuff where they put like 666 on the door a lot, or there's a lot of innuendos and things that are in there that's hidden. And it's not that there's so much evil or there's some agenda to take over the world or corrupt our children. It's just plain and simply, most of the time, animators just get bored. And they were doing this for their own practical inside jokes, and it just happened that people started to notice. But I can gladly say that this was before that ever happened. So there's no stink on this movie of any kind, in my opinion. This is an awesome film. It's the classic story of good and evil. And I liked the Maleficent movie, what they did there, but I always go back to this. I like Maleficent as this hardcore evil bitch. Somebody who's not just misunderstood like they portray her in the new film. But, so this was always the best adaptation to me, and I absolutely love this film. It's still my favorite of all time. And it was my favorite as a little kid. This was actually the only one of the quote-unquote girl movies that I owned as a child. I also had the Robin Hood one, and I had all the boy ones. But I love this one because it had the dragon and the guy with the sword slaying the dragon. That was the big draw for me as a child. But as I grow up, I've just become such an appreciative person to all of what this movie has to offer, and also to what Disney has to offer. Like I said, people can talk all the shit they want about Disney. They know how to do quality animation. Or at least they did ever before they went to like all this computer crap. And don't get me wrong, I like a lot of computer stuff too. I really do. But I miss Disney's old-fashioned hand-drawn animations. These were the absolute greatest. So, all right, guys, the number 5 film that I want to talk about, and it's unfortunately, like I said, one I don't have a copy of, but I am going to put a screenshot of it up in the corner, is Grease 2. This is really kind of funny and maybe even a little embarrassing, but when I was a little kid, even younger than my daughter is, my daughters are now maybe, I don't know, before kindergarten, even preschool age, I remember my mom had the soundtrack to Grease 2 on vinyl. And we had an apartment in Denver, and my mom babysit this little girl. It was about my age, and I just remember pretending with her that we were those characters. Remember, I don't know why I remember this, but I do. It's so crazy. I would pull the top off a Coke can, the old-fashioned Coke cans, before they had the real small closed-in little tabs. They had the bigger ones that were like kind of big, you know. And I would pull that off, and I would give that to her as her ring, so she could go steady with me. I have no idea where a couple of 4 and 5-year-olds got the ideas for this. And I can't remember how it all came to be, but we used to dance to this music all the time, to the music of this movie. And I absolutely love this film. I still like it to this day. I know as I got a little older, what I got into, especially when I was about, 6, 7 through 10, was I loved the motorcycle aspect in it. And I always liked to pretend that I was Michael up on top of the cop car, or up on top of the car with the, the motorcycle going, and I'd jump over the cop car and everything, and on the motorcycle, and everybody going, "Who's that guy?" And I know that's super embarrassing, but you know what? I don't care, so whatever. I'm very secure in who I am, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And if anybody has a problem with that, they can always come and just talk to me directly. So I have no problem with what people put in my comments section because it doesn't bother me. Anyways, guys, those are my 5 films. I was actually going through my collection. I was like, yeah, I guess this one could be, that one could be. Like, I love the Look Who's Talking movies, and I know a lot of people don't like those. And I think they're great. I think they're absolutely hilarious. Bruce Willis and then Roseanne and do awesome jobs in those as the voiceovers. But so there's a lot of movies out there that I guess people will call guilty pleasures. But I have no shame in anything I watch. I have no guilty pleasures whatsoever, I guess. But these are 5 movies that people would probably consider guilty pleasures for me. So anyways, guys, that is all. I thank you. Once again, check out The Last Shoegazer. He has an awesome channel. He just reached 100 subs. My buddy Movie Massacre, formerly known as Play It Now, he just reached 300 subs, and I'm super happy for both of you guys. You guys are doing awesome, and I hope my channel does as well. So, thank you guys very much for everything you do.